The tale of the soldier who saw his shadow and felt fear. 42nd tale. Once upon a time, there was a servant in a noble household who was overly concerned about appearing fierce and intimidating to others. One morning, as he was about to leave his house for some errand, his wife was still in bed. She rose to prepare food, and through the slats of the wooden floor, the light of the crescent moon streamed into the house. In the moonlight, she saw her own shadow, and, mistaking it for a large, disheveled child thief trying to break in, she panicked. In her haste, she quietly pointed to her husband and said, "There's a large child thief with unkempt hair trying to sneak in." Her husband, not knowing what to do, thought, "What an outrageous situation." He searched for the long sword he kept beside his pillow, saying, "I shall strike off the head of that scoundrel." He got up, still bare, and saw the same shadow that his wife had noticed. Thinking, "Surely it's not a child, but a man with a drawn sword." He became alarmed and, fearing for his life, called out, "I must not let my head be split open." He quickly returned to his wife and said, "I thought you were my wife, but it seems you were mistaken for a fierce soldier. How poorly I see things. That is not a child thief at all, but a man with his sword drawn. It is truly cowardly of me to have come out without knowing." He thought to himself that perhaps his shadow had looked terrifying, which prompted his wife to panic. Then he told her, "Go out and chase him away. If I see a shadow of someone trying to frighten me, I will be too scared to go on my way. I have no reason to harm a woman." So he pulled on his clothes and lay back down. His wife, feeling frustrated, said, "What is the use of saying this? I shall take my bow and arrows and go out to see the moon." And she stood up to leave. As she did, a paper screen beside her fell down unexpectedly and landed on her husband. He thought, "This must be the thief attacking me," and shouted loudly. His wife, thinking poorly of him, remarked, "Oh dear, that master thief has already escaped. Moreover, the screen has just fallen on you." When the husband rose to look, he saw there was indeed no thief and realized that it was merely the screen that had fallen. At that moment, he got up, scratching his side, and licked his hand, saying, "That thief must have entered quietly and taken my belongings. It's clear that this thief has stepped on the screen and escaped. If only he had lingered a bit longer, I would have surely caught him. My cowardice has let this thief escape." Hearing this, his wife smiled, thinking, "What a fool he is," and stopped her laughter. In this world, such foolish people exist. Truly, if a person is as timid as he seems, there is no reason for him to carry swords or bows standing near others. Upon hearing this story, everyone found fault with the man. This tale has been passed down through the words of his wife. The Tale of the Minister Fujiwara and the Stolen Hat, 43rd tale. Once upon a time, there was a man named Fujiwara, also known as Michitsuna, who served as a minister. His residence was located on the Ichijo Street. In that household, there was a servant known for being foolish, who would often amuse others with his antics. He was called Naito. One night, while sleeping in the house, a rat took one of the minister's hats and gnawed on it, ruining it completely. Without a replacement hat, Naito had to wear a sleeve and hide in a storage area for the night. When the minister learned of this, he expressed his regret, saying, "How unfortunate." He then decided to give Naito his own hat, saying, "Take this." Receiving the minister's hat, Naito emerged from the storage area and, addressing his fellow servants, said, "Look here, my friends. Do you think I could acquire a temple hat or a shrine hat? I have received the old hat of the first minister." He held his head high and struck a pose, showcasing his attire. The others laughed heartily at his antics. Thus, in this world, there are those who will find amusement in such trivial matters. It is said that even the minister himself, upon hearing this, joined in the laughter, and this story has been passed down through generations. The tale of the man who entered the grave pit in Shinohara, Omi province, 44th tale. Once upon a time, a lowly man traveling towards Mino province passed through a place called Shinohara in Omi province. As it grew dark and rain began to fall, he looked around to find a place to stay. Since he was in a remote area with no nearby houses, he spotted a grave pit and crawled into it. After staying there for a while, the sun set and it became very dark. The rain continued to pour, so he thought, "I will spend the night in this grave pit." As he settled in, he noticed that the space was wide enough to lie down. As the night deepened, he heard the sound of something entering. It was too dark to see what it was, but he thought to himself, this must be a demon. How foolish I was to enter a grave pit without knowing it was inhabited by evil spirits. I might lose my life tonight. Despite his fear, there was nowhere to escape, so he remained crouched down and listened closely. The sound approached, and soon he heard something being placed down. Then came the sound of soft rustling. He realized it was a human presence. Although this man was of lowly status, he had some wit about him. He reasoned, this must be a person who, like me, has come seeking shelter from the rain at dusk. The noise of placing things down must be what they carry. He then thought, could this be a demon living in the grave pit? So he remained silent, listening carefully. As he listened, he speculated whether this newcomer was a priest, a young boy, or someone else entirely. He finally said, if there are any gods residing in this grave pit, I humbly ask you to hear me. I am merely a traveler passing through, and with the heavy rain and the deepening night, I sought refuge here. He placed his belongings respectfully in front of him, feeling a bit calmer. When he heard a noise nearby, he curiously extended his hand to feel around and discovered 3 small rice cakes placed there. Realizing that this was indeed a person passing through who had left offerings, he took the opportunity to eat the cakes since he was hungry and there was no one around to stop him. After a moment, he thought, I must have eaten something a demon had left behind. Suddenly, in a panic, he stood up and fled without even gathering his belongings or his hat, running away as fast as he could. He was so frightened he didn't care about anything else. The original man who had left the rice cakes thought, it seems this traveler was terrified by my presence after eating the cakes. He began to search for the items the man had left behind, discovering a bag wrapped in deerskin along with the hat. This must be something from the area around Mino, he thought, and decided to follow the man while still being cautious. After a while, as dawn broke, he opened the bag to find it contained silk, cloth, and cotton. Surprised by this unexpected treasure, he rejoiced and continued on his way. How fortunate he was to have received such a gift. Meanwhile, the frightened man had fled, which was only natural. Indeed, who would not have run away in such a situation? This tale was shared by the original man in his old age before his wife and children, and has been passed down through generations. The Tale of the Thief Who Entered the Storehouse at the Western Market, First Tale. Once upon a time, during the reign of Emperor Shek, a thief broke into a storehouse at the Western Market. When the authorities learned that the thief was holed up inside, the guards, known as the Kenbi Wakushi, gathered to capture him. Among them was a high-ranking official known as Shakshashkat, who wore a blue robe over a cap and was carrying a spear. As he approached the door of the storehouse, the thief called out to him from within. The thief said, please inform the high-ranking official that I have something to say. If you would kindly dismount from your horse and come closer to the door, I have a matter I wish to discuss privately. The official conveyed the thief's request to the high-ranking official, who, upon hearing it, considered moving closer to the door. However, the other guards advised against it, saying, this is a very dangerous situation. Despite their warnings, the high-ranking official thought there must be a reason for this. He dismounted and approached the storehouse. At that moment, the thief opened the door and said, please come in. The high-ranking official entered the storehouse, and the thief quickly closed the door behind him. The guards outside witnessed this and were horrified, thinking, how strange! A thief is holed up in the storehouse, and the high-ranking official is being lured inside and locked in. This is unprecedented. They were enraged and bewildered. After a while, the storehouse door opened, and the high-ranking official emerged, mounted his horse, and rode over to the guards. He declared, this is a serious matter. We must suspend this pursuit for now. I have something to report. He returned to the storehouse. While the guards were in confusion, the high-ranking official soon came back and said, the pursuit must cease immediately. I have received orders to return quickly. Upon hearing this, the guards dispersed. The high-ranking official remained, and as night fell, he went back to the door of the storehouse to speak to the thief. At that time, the thief was sobbing loudly. Afterward, the high-ranking official returned inside, and the thief exited, not knowing where to go. To this day, no one knows the identity of the thief or the details surrounding the event. This tale has been passed down through generations, with many unaware of the true reasons behind it. The Tale of the Two Thieves, Tasuimaru and Chōbukumaru, Second Tale. Once upon a time, there were two thieves in the world, known as Tasuimaru and Chōbukumaru. Tasuimaru was a notorious thief, well known for breaking into storehouses. He was frequently captured and imprisoned for his crimes. Chōbukumaru, on the other hand, was a mysterious thief, unknown to anyone. No one knew who he was, and he remained a secretive figure, much like Tasuimaru. At that time, Tasuimaru found it strange that, although he had heard of Chōbukumaru, he did not know anything about him. This left people in the community quite puzzled. Reflecting on this, it was said that Chōbukumaru was a remarkably clever individual. Even when he stole alongside Tasuimaru, he managed to remain unknown to all. The people spoke of this as a truly remarkable feat. Thus, the story has been passed down.